Imagine a time when second-hand Pokemon games were relatively cheap. Perhaps you wanted to relive some of those memories from your childhood, or you're a newer gamer who wants to experience those Pokemon games of old. You could go down to your local game store and pick up a used Pokemon game for about $15, $20 max. Well, not anymore. Pokemon games are freaking expensive! Like, what is this? What happened? They must have made millions of these games. Why do they go for so much? Perhaps the one game that makes a little bit of sense, it goes for quite a bit, is Pokemon Box, released in 2004 in North America. It was only available for purchase at the Pokemon Center store in New York, which later became the Nintendo World store. So I can understand that there's not going to be that many of these out there and it will go for quite a bit. But not $2,000 worth. This Pokemon games have just exploded, and it makes sense considering it's one of the most popular series out there. But you think if that's the case, the developers could actually put a little bit of time into fine-tuning their games, but we're not going to go on about that today, because today we are talking about Pokemon Box and all the mystique surrounding it. Because there's my bet that a lot of people here have never played it before, including myself. So today we're going to dive in to the Japanese version, because even I don't own the North American version, but I think we'll get by just fine. And we're going to start here with a quick unboxing. This is what it looks like in Japan. Of course, the North American boxes are like twice the size, but the contents are the same. So here's the box. Let me open it up and show you what's inside. So inside you get the game and a cable which connects your Game Boy Advance to the GameCube. This is of course the Japanese version, so it's going to be a smaller version of the case with a nice cardboard sleeve. I've always loved Japanese GameCube games, they look so nice. So opening that up, you get your game disc, you get the memory card that it comes with. And this is a 59 block memory card. It is just plastered everywhere. I've read the instruction manual already, so hopefully we'll be good to go when we play the game, but it's really specific. It says you must use a 59 block memory card for this game. Try to use one of those 251 block ones. It won't work for whatever reason. It just has to take over your whole memory card. No idea why they made it like that. You figure they could just partition a 59 block space onto any memory card, but no, that's not how they did it. And of course, aside from the manuals and all that, one other neat thing that we get is the sticker that you can put on the memory card. You can probably write Andrew's game so that everyone knows that that is what that memory card is for, as if, the interesting colors wouldn't have made that obvious already. So today we're going to be trying this with a Japanese copy of Pokemon Ruby I have. You'll see why I want to try transferring Pokemon from this game onto this memory card, because that's what Pokemon Box is all about. It's if you don't have enough space in your Gen 3 games, you can use Pokemon Box as a way to transfer Pokemon from here and onto the memory card so you can have extra space. And it also allows you to play your Game Boy Advance games on, rather not any Game Boy Advance game, but the Gen 3 games on your television, similar to how you could with Pokemon Stadium 1 and 2, play your Gen 1 and Gen 2 Pokemon games through your N64. But with that, let's actually try out the game. And here we go, that's Pokemon Box, Ruby, and Sapphire. So, first thing we do is turn on the game, press start, and we get two options. We can go to the actual Pokemon Box game, or we can depart for adventure, which is what allows us to play the Game Boy Advance Gen 3 games on our television. So we're actually going to try this first. And what we get is a message telling us to get our Game Boy Advance set up with the cable here like we have. And it wants us to turn the power on here. So let's give this a shot. You can see me in the reflection a little bit. That's not what we're here for though. And look at it go, transferring all that data. And we get a Pokemon Box graphic on our Game Boy Advance, because we're actually going to be playing the game with the GameCube controller. Alright, Game Boy Advance power, it says to actually turn off the Game Boy Advance. And then on the GameCube, the game begins. So let me put this down and grab the GameCube controller. And there you go, it's Gen 3 on your GameCube. So the Game Boy Player is a much better and more universal way to do this, but it is kind of neat seeing that this functionality exists. It would have been cool if this functionality was also in Pokemon Coliseum and such, but I guess we'll take what we've got here. And the whole reason I had the inspiration to do this video is as you're going to see on this cartridge, this is just a second-hand cartridge that I picked up that says that the battery's dead, which doesn't erase your file in Gen 3 and onwards, but it will stop time-related events from working. Is because this is a second-hand cartridge that I picked up where someone has just cheated all day long. So I thought, you know what, it would be a waste to play through this game and leave all those Pokemon on here. So we're going to be transferring some of these shinies and such into Pokemon Box today, just because I thought that would be a silly thing to do. So one thing that you can do while playing your Pokemon games through Pokemon Box is if you press the Z button on the GameCube controller, it brings up this menu. So the top one says Continue Adventure, this one says End Adventure. So when you want to stop playing, the instruction manual says make sure you use this option, because if you don't, remember, we turned the Game Boy Advance off, so I think it needs to transfer the data back to the Game Boy Advance when we're done. So we'll see how that goes. But this third option is actually screenshot mode, and what this allows us to do is you can take a screenshot of your game here and then use it as the background for your boxes in the main Pokemon Box mode. However, I don't think it's going to actually let us save the screenshot since we haven't started the Pokemon Box mode yet. Let me see. Oh, still let us do it. But okay, so there you go. So that is just one of the features that it lets you do if you're playing your Game Boy Advance game. You can take a screenshot, except it doesn't, it's very wide. As you'll see, the Pokemon Box boxes are very wide. But there you go. That is playing your Gen 3 games through Pokemon Box. But I guess what we're going to do is let's save. Let's see what happens when we save. Aha! Okay. So it's starting to save. Game Boy Advance. Okay, so it wants us to turn on the Game Boy Advance. So we'll get this back here. And it's checking. Okay, it's saving. So it says, don't take out the cord or the game. And now it's saying that we can once again turn off the Game Boy Advance. Demo. Okay. So there you go. So it said to turn off the Game Boy Advance again, but still it says that while you're playing this, don't you dare think of taking out this cable or the game from the GBA. So that's it. Every time you save, you have to go through this ordeal of turn on the Game Boy Advance, wait a few seconds, and turn it back off. It is so inefficient. There's no reason to ever play your Pokemon games through this mode. Just get a Game Boy player instead. But I think we've looked enough, so let's do that quitting option now. Pressing Z again. End the adventure. It's saying, have you saved? And is it okay to end? So we're gonna go to yes. And there you go, it takes us back to the beginning of Pokemon Box. So that is just the, a quick look at the mode that allows you to play your Gen 3 games on your TV through that. Again, why wouldn't you just use the Game Boy player? But let's actually go to Pokemon Box itself. And it's saying slot A memory card. Do you want to make this slot A 59 block memory card only for Pokemon Box? Don't even think of putting your Mario Sunshine save data on there. So let's do that. And it says don't touch the power button and all that. It's creating the save file. It takes a long time, I guess, using up all 59 of those blocks. And now it wants us to once again turn on our Game Boy Advance. So yeah, this is the Japanese version, because it's much easier to get your hands on. I actually picked this up on my 2017 trip to Japan, the complete in-box version, for about 2,000 yen, which equals about $20. So a lot more affordable than the North American version. Because if you buy the North American version, there's probably not much practical reason you want this game. It would just be for collecting purposes. So if you kind of just want to mess around with it and have some fun, I can recommend the Japanese version. Just remember that... Okay, so it wants us to turn this off again. Just remember that the GameCube is region locked. You will need a region-free disc to be able to play this on your GameCube, North American GameCube, but I'm using that right now, and as you can see, it's working just fine. But alright, It's Azusa. Hey there, and who am I? And I guess the file on that game was Satoshi-kun. Of course, Satoshi is Ash's name in the Japanese version of the anime, because everyone back in the day used to name their Game Boy, their Pokemon game characters after the anime characters. My very first copy of Pokemon Blue, I named my guy Ash, even though I know it's red, but as an 8-year-old kid, nobody knew that. But alright, here we go. I like how the ID number is 000. Someone was definitely up to some, shenanigans with that game. Yeah, so just it's a game that allows us to put our Pokemon into more boxes. And they'll be super happy if we use it, just exploding with happiness right now. Alright. Pokemon box. And there's an egg there. So we get an egg, I guess, just for starting up the game. Interesting. And this is where our introduction ends. Okay. So, the top one is organize your boxes. You can display stuff. You can save. And sayonara. Never playing this game again. But let's go to the actual boxes here. So, up on top are the boxes that are within Pokemon Box themselves. So those are going to be on your memory card, and then the ones down here are the ones that were actually in our Pokemon Ruby game we were looking at. So I guess what we can do now is, it said if you hold the A button, you can grab a whole bunch of stuff at once. So we can do a thing like that, and just lift that all the way up here, and then boom! You can just do that for all your Pokemon, but it says beware, it's, you can't take out all your Pokemon. You have to leave at least like one left. What happens if I try to, overlap them? Will it count for that? No. But as you can see, like I said, the boxes in Pokemon Box itself are very wide, and that's why that screenshot we were trying to take was really wide. Did it save properly? Can we use it as a background? Here's the background option. And then here's special. Oh yeah, flowers, title. Here, my backgrounds. Oh, and there's the one we took earlier. It did work. So yeah, my beautiful work of art is now being used as a background for box number 1. And that's basically what Pokemon Box is. You take your your Pokemon from the game and you hold that A button, because if you didn't read the instruction manual, you'd probably be doing it like this, and it would take like 40 years. And also, so I think the C stick is used to like move really quickly between boxes. See, reading the instruction manual is always a good idea. Never skip that step. It will end up saving you time in the long run. But yeah, that's what this game does. And I think there's like other functions too. You can take a screenshot even now. How do you search for stuff? And you can jump for like quickly to any of the boxes you want by doing a thing like that. You can name the boxes, which I don't think we need to do. So hopefully I can just get out of here now. Pressing, okay, Y. Okay, X's menu, there we go. And you can list all of your Pokemon, which is pretty neat. So you can list them all like this. In your box. And you can sort by different ways too. Like gender, that's what box they're in. You can search by type. So you can search by A, I, U, A, O, which is kind of like, how the Japanese words are ordered, similar to our alphabet. You can order them by number in the Pokedex. That's what you want to do. So we got all the, Bulbasaur and such here. So there's pretty much everything. Rizadon, of course, Charizard. And this is just a great way if you're like, oh, I want to find that, Pikachu, and you don't want to look for all your boxes for Pikachu, just order them by number. Except I don't see Pikachu here, unfortunately. Or do I? I guess they don't have every single Pokemon. Like Zenigame, Squirtle. Like, they have all the starters here. Rattata. This is gonna be Machoke, right? So you can use this option to group all the same types of Pokemon together, but they only have one. But yeah, so there's different things that you can do with your boxes. But overall, that's what Pokemon Box is all about. Actually, there was one other thing I wanted to check too. You could search by level. I saw in the manual that there was a way to do that. Oh, because you can use left and right here. Okay, so you can go here. And you can do... Alright, yes, you can do this, where you can search, I want to find all the Pokemon in my box who are between, say, level 29 and, like, 33. I'm just really specific like that, and we don't have any Pokemon in our box that fall within that range. So there's just all sorts of interesting things you can do with Pokemon Box, but at the end of the day, it is a thing where you just look at all the Pokemon you've caught, transfer them all over to here. And yeah, did anybody ever catch enough Pokemon in Gen 3 to need a functionality like this? And well, you can just like really do the thing, but if we use the C-stick, we can go all the way back, and you can see, like, the boxes are very nice. This is a really cool concept, and I guess I can understand why it was only sold at the Nintendo World Store. So yeah, each of these boxes are pretty much 2 times the size of the GBA boxes. So I can understand why it wasn't very widely sold. But unfortunately that just means that it's very hard to get your hands on these days. Oh, and I don't think we ever pressed the Y button, which just kind of brings up a thing at the bottom here, which gives you a brief summary of whichever Pokemon you're on top of. And then pressing the X button, we looked at this before to get to the list, but you can also view their overall stats, just like you can in the Game Boy games, of course, pressing up and down to kind of scroll through them. But yeah! So let's go save now. Actually, we never did display mode. I was just about to, you know, cheat you all here. This is probably what you all came for. Alright, so let's create a stage. So it's small, big. I don't think we need to go too massive. This is a good stage. You know, so like place so that, like, you don't really place the real Pokemon, unfortunately. They're just like little standees of them. So like you do a thing like this, and look at this. 3D, incredible. Okay, so why are there no Pokemon here to begin with? Stage, change stage. This is interesting. Display. Oh, there you go. You gotta press the X button. It shows the X button, and then it says box above it instead of beside it. I got it. Alright, Charmander, we're placing you right here. Look at that. It's the... This isn't even like a very good display. Okay. Oh, so you can just place... I have one Charmander, but I can place as many of them as I want. If I place like a bigger Pokemon, is their standee bigger? Like Kyogre. No, Kyogre confirmed to be the actual same size as Charmander. And you can erase them with Y. There goes all my Pokemon. And okay, I guess I'll actually take this somewhat seriously. So we'll put Fearow there. We'll put this guy here, Nidoking. It looks like shiny Nidoking. Eradicate, my fave. And Vileplume. So now what do we do with this? You can turn it with L and R. You can look at the stage. Alright, here we go. Look at that. Admiring my hard work. This is lame. It's not even like it would be cool if it was like 3D models of the Pokemon or something, but yes, this makes me want to pay $2,000 for the North American version. And we're gonna delete the stage. Goodbye, Pokemon. You are now gone forever. But that's Pokemon Box, everybody, in case you've just ever wondered what this mysterious thing is that you need to spend ridiculous amounts to get your hands on. That is what you could spend $2,000 on today. I can just see all of you going to eBay at this moment. But let's save our game. Alright, so we're going to save that. But it wants us to turn on the Game Boy Advance. So let's get this guy back here. And it just says, wait a minute. I like how it still has to show, you know, the credits at the beginning of Pokemon there. And then it goes to this special screen. And it says, don't you dare touch that power button or rip the cord out. And it says we can turn the Game Boy Advance off again. And unfortunately, none of the buttons on this work. Like, I can't press A on the Game Boy Advance right now and operate the GameCube game, which is really stupid. Instead of this system where every time I have to turn the Game Boy Advance off, put it down to the side, bring it back, turn it back on, if I could have just controlled Pokemon Box with the Game Boy Advance, it would have made so much more sense. Or at least, you know, giving you that option as well as using the GameCube controller, but they didn't feel like doing that. So that is how this works. And that is Pokemon Box. So let's see here. But it says, it's still really insistent that you don't take the cable out from the Game Boy Advance, even though it's off, which is very fascinating. And we're gonna end here, and see you later. That's what we'll let you think. With that, that's Pokemon Box. Hope you enjoyed learning about that very fascinating game that, yeah, I had never played before, so it was kind of a crash course for both of us. And now, go check it out for yourself if you just found that really riveting. But thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed, and hope to see you next time for something different. So thanks, and see you later. So actually, I left the game running just for a minute at the title screen after I ended the video, and it started showing this. And that was probably the coolest looking thing that was the coolest looking part of the game, and you have to sit on the title screen for like 2 minutes to actually see it. Fascinating. So what that actually was I guess there are different kinds of stages you can set up here. Okay, so yeah, you can change the design of the actual stage itself. So I guess you can kind of create, you know, the scenes that they show when you stay on the title screen long enough. Now I understand. I get it, but you need to be the one to decide. And you can change what the, you know, the standees look like. I get it. I get it now. And you can change, music too. Like, you can do, like, the gym music. Change the name. And then we can place a guy. No, it's the X button. Good old shiny Venusaur here. And if we pick him up, okay, we can change how tall he is. And there you go. So you can kind of create the scenes like they showed on the title screen. I get it now. Okay, so you be the judge. Does this suddenly make it worth the $2,000 price tag? It's worth a couple more dollars at the very least, but I'm not so sure I'm going to be running out and grabbing it regardless. The Japanese version gets the job done. You know, when you stand back and have a look at it, doesn't really matter what language it is ultimately. So there you go. But thanks again for watching, and hope you enjoyed. See you later.